Mhm. It's the Morning Cryptos with Mark Shepard and the Hypnosis of Money and Crypto Cranker's Guide to the Galaxy of Greed, Grieviness, and all things Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash. All right, so let's do the charts. Let's look real quick at Litecoin, and Litecoin is doing its thing. It's such a wonderful chart, particularly for a new person to learn what these currencies do. It makes wonderful sideways ranges that are a little bit more predictable than maybe some of the other currencies. And then it lets you know when it's going to move, and then it moves. And it's kind of cool. I've really been loving Litecoin, and I love the fact that, again, I'm an introvert. When I get in a crowd, I try to find a quiet place. And right now, for me, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, Bitcoin is a crowd. And if you've studied or been aware at all of the behavior of crowds, they're very different from the behavior of individuals. And the crowd mentality is something that, I don't know if it's our mirror neurons or what, but we get carried away when a certain tipping point is reached, and all of a sudden, whoosh, something changes, right? It takes a long time. It's like Bitcoin was the engine, the steam engine that started very slowly pulling away from the platform. And for a lot of people, it's just like, yeah, what's that? It wasn't even worth paying attention to. But for some people it was, and they did. And now we're at a place where we are hitting that tipping point, that critical mass where people all over the world are kind of rushing into Bitcoin, not really understanding its problems, not really understanding the fact that it's really not usable anywhere, and that the transaction times are crazy long sometimes, but you don't know when, and it has some pretty expensive transaction fees. So all of those things notwithstanding, Bitcoin is still a revolutionary idea whose time has come. The question is that I've been asking as I've kind of gotten my feet wet this is the 5th week of my challenge to really go deep, to not just kind of sit on the sidelines or scratch the surface of this phenomenal movement of cryptocurrencies, altcoins, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash. It's just crazy times. And for me, what's fascinating is the human mind, and how so many of us are actually recognizing, oh my God, like I'm kind of got a window seat into history here. So that's my background and perspective. I'm a 20-year practitioner of hypnosis. I'm a songwriter, a musician. I am kind of an alt thinker. I'm not a techno geek, though. I'm someone who is an early adapter of new ideas, not so much new technology, right? And sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. So years and years ago, I experienced a bubble. It was the 1980s real estate bubble. And I, as a young 28-year-old entrepreneur, ended up buying 4 houses for nothing down at the top of the 1980s real estate bubble. It was a time when you were just throwing money at real estate and it was going up 10% a month in value. I mean, it was crazy. And I was in the title insurance industry, and I was living in Westchester County, New York, and doing condominium conversion closings in New York City as part of a little company that I had been hired at. And it was crazy. It was like I was watching these people in 1989 literally buy the rights, buy a contract, or go into a contract to buy a condo, and then flip the contract to someone else for $20,000 more than they were on the contract for. So There were like these double closings that were happening, and I got hooked on that. I got caught up in that energy, and I'm like, everybody else is buying real estate. I've got to buy real estate too. So I bought 4 houses for nothing down. Now, if I'd bought them in 1985, not 1989 or 90, I would have looked like a genius. But I bought at the wrong time. And so that experience, I eventually lost everything, right? And I have not purchased real estate since, because it's just, I see it. I see how overpriced real estate is. And right now I'm seeing a bubble in real estate. I'm seeing a bubble in the stock market. I'm seeing a bubble in so many different areas. And I don't know if Bitcoin's a bubble. I mean, it is a bubble of sorts in that we are at an all-time high, and it always corrects. It always will come back. And I'm kind of going, okay, I'm going to stay on the sidelines until hopefully SegWit activates, until hopefully some of the problems are solved. And then I'm going to get back into Bitcoin on a retracement. So that's where I'm coming from. And I'm trying to look at the numbers without knowing too much. What I'm trying to, I guess, express to you guys is I'm attempting to look at these charts just from the chart and not try to bring in too much news or too much fundamental information, because I think you can actually do pretty well if you just look at the energy of these charts, because these charts are literally a recording of the human mind, of the crowd, and what's the crowd thinking, and how can I kind of surf the crowd so that I can get in, make a profit, and get out without losing any money. That's really what's going on. So if you guys want to watch, that's great, and I really appreciate it. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe, please share this, give me a thumbs up, that helps. And you guys are blowing up my channel, and I really appreciate your comments. And so let's do the morning cryptos. Yeah, I can talk. I know, I can talk, and it's a trance. All right, so let's look at Litecoin. I really like Litecoin because it's so readable, and it has consistently, let's run the 1 hours here. It has consistently, see if we can draw this intelligently, and it's approximate. This is all approximate. It has consistently shown double and triple tops, whether it's on the 1-day chart, the 30-minute chart, and consistently showing bottoms that are higher, right? And this is so easy. Litecoin's going to move again, right? Look at the 1 hours. It goes down, but it doesn't go down as far as it was. It comes up to exactly where it went, then it goes down, but less far than it went the last time. Then it comes up, right? And then when it hits this point, it tends to want to break. And I think my son mentioned to me that he checked on the Shapeshift exchange, and most of the largest exchanges were from Bitcoin into Litecoin. And I think you're going to see more of that because Litecoin's a bargain. Bitcoin's overpriced, right? Bitcoin's at an all-time high. Litecoin's at an all-time high, but there's a difference between an all-time high of 62 and an all-time high of 4,500 or wherever Bitcoin is at the moment. I haven't looked. We'll check the chart soon. So buy signal if you want to get in on Litecoin. This is a good time to do it. And again, that's not to be construed as financial advice. I'm just showing you a chart and what I would do. I'm already in Litecoin, and I'm just hanging on at the moment. And I have a tiny little bit in Bitcoin. So on the 1-minute chart, it's making its move. It looks like it kind of wants to break out. But we have a double top here on the 1 minutes. And again, the bottoms are higher. And so we're going to look to kind of break through 62 here. And let's go back to the 1-day chart. And how high? What was this? Its highest touch was like 64. I think it's going to gun for 70. It'll may do a little sideways range. If you notice, it makes a burst 1, 2, 3 days, and then it has a bit of a retracement, and it works its way, and then it has another burst. And if you look at this, we've had 1, 2, 3 days of up, so it may go sideways for a little bit. But I'm looking to see Litecoin hit 100 in the next week or so. That's my prediction, and we'll see how accurate I am. And the underlying fundamentals are Litecoin actually works pretty well. It really works pretty well, and it's available on the newbie exchange of Coinbase. So if you're new, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and then you might want to get yourself an Exodus wallet and get yourself some Dash. But pick the right time because they're all moving. It's kind of hard to know when to get in. All right, so that was Litecoin. Let's move on. All right, so Bitcoin over the weekend really slammed up into some new altitudes here. Let's look at it real quick. It's made new highs, and I think it's gunning for 5,000. If it hits 5,000, there's going to be a major retracement. It's the nature of the beast. People will take profits. Traders will take profits. People will go, oh my God, did I do it again? Did I rush in and buy a top? The masses rush in and buy the tops because they don't understand it. And then the professionals step aside, make their sale, get out with their profits, and then the thing falls, right? Now, I think long term, Bitcoin will, people are talking about it, one Bitcoin being worth $50,000. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, it's outrageous that it's worth 46.25. So we'll see. Let's look at the 1 hours. Okay, so on the 1 hours, you see it has made a little bit of a retracement. Its tippy top was 46.47, and at the moment is trading at 45.53. And here's the question. We have, on the 1 hours, we have a triple top, right? But look, the bottoms are getting higher and then it drops. So this isn't following the same pattern as Litecoin, right? This is doing something different. And I'm out of my league. I don't know. It's such a mass movement right now. It's so crazy. I mean, just look at the news, and all you hear is Bitcoin in the news, and different countries going, okay, we're going to use Bitcoin, or I think we are in such a revolution that sometimes it's hard to see. It's hard to take a step back and go, okay, is this really going to work? Are they really going to fix the problems? I mean, a lot of people have a lot invested in Bitcoin. A lot of people who know a lot more than you or I have a lot invested in Bitcoin. So that, I think, is a good sign for its long-term health and strength. I'm just coming off a person who I wanted to make a trade over the weekend, and it didn't go through, and I lost my position because of the transaction time. And it's, you go into a car dealer to buy a car, and they go, okay, how do you want to pay for this? I'll pay Bitcoin. And they're like, okay, we'll take Bitcoin. But you can't take the car until the transaction goes through. It's kind of like the old days, until your check clears, right? And we don't want that. We want instant transactions. And so we'll see. I hope it does. I hope it does fix its stuff. And here we have on the 30 minutes, what looks like a triple top, but then it doesn't break out. It goes lower. So what's going on? Well, it's called profit taking. Bitcoin is at such an all-time high, and there's a difference between an all-time high of 67 or 68 or even 70 and an all-time high of $4,600, right? That changes things in people's mind. It's like a board. If you put a 2x4 across your living room floor, you can balance on that 2x4, no problem. If you raise that 2x4 up 1 foot, you could probably still balance on it. But if you raised it 15 feet in the air, all of a sudden, it's different. It's different. You have to balance on it. And I think that's where we are. Bitcoin is very high up in the air. And there's some forces at work which we won't really be able to comprehend until after it does what it does, right? So let's look at the 1 minutes. At the 1 minutes, it's trading pretty strong. It's on the move up, and we have the bottoms are higher on the 1 minutes. So yeah, I think it's going to make a run for 5,000. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be tangled up in it and it go to 5,000, and then when I want to sell, I can't because all the exchanges are shut down because everybody's rushing in to sell, and then you can't sell until 2,000. And we'll look at Ethereum next, and we'll see how fast these things can drop. Okay, so that's Bitcoin for today. Please be careful out there, people, and do things intelligently with your money. And remember, it's all hypnosis. Money is a hypnotic communication between other people. It's just one of the many interesting things we do as human beings. All right. So I want you to just look at Ethereum for a minute and its rise to 400 and its inevitable rapid drop, right, to 135. Now, it's going to get back to 400, and I think if Bitcoin does have a major retracement, which I think it's going to have, I think it will go back, but it will shock people, and all the news outlets will go, oh, Bitcoin bubble pops, it crashed, it's over, right? They'll because bad news spreads faster than good news. That's the bottom line. If it takes 9 years for Bitcoin to get into the public mind, it could only take a day for the public to run away scared. That's my theory. That's my opinion, right? So that's what we're looking at. So Ethereum is gonna go to 400. It's pushing, and my prediction is it'll either, kind of test 400 a couple of times. There'll be multiple tops, and then it will move again, or it may find, that there's not that much support because, again, it's a first generation crypto. I don't know. And it has some challenges. And all the ICOs are built on Ethereum, and they clog the system just like Bitcoin gets clogged. So that's a problem. It's a technological problem that hopefully will be fixed, but those kinds of problems aren't instant fixes, and the public wants instant fix. I know, because I'm the public. I want instant fix. I want the damn thing to work. It's my money, right? It's my energy that I'm trusting to this idea. And if I'm going to trust my resources and my value and my energy to an idea, I want it to work. I'm willing to take some risk, but I also want it to work in the real world. And I think that energy is going to move us forward. It's going to create some pretty amazing things in the next few months. So we'll keep an eye on that. So let's look at the 1 hours. And wow, this last hour is really Ethereum kind of making a move. And it's Wednesday, right? Wednesday, August 30th. Interesting stuff. And we're approaching in the U.S. the Labor Day weekend. So I would think there's going to be some very interesting moves, and then there should be some interesting profit takings perhaps on Friday. And we'll see what happens over the weekend. But Ethereum's pushing towards 400, and you might see that today, depending on what the energy is in the market. This is not a place I would get in. I would not get in here. I have one single Ethereum. I'm kind of watching its price go up in my wallet, and I love that. I think the idea of Ethereum is awesome, and again, I want it to succeed, right? I wanted Secretariat to win the Triple Crown. You know what I mean? I kind of wanted Mayweather to win the fight because I liked his energy and I liked him going out in a wonderful way. At the same time, I liked McGregor making the challenge, right? So I like the underdog. I like the champion. I like them both. I want everybody to win, right? In the real world, it doesn't work that way. Unless you reinterpret whatever happens as a win no matter what. And that's, for me, the hypnosis of money. Whatever happens, I force myself to interpret it as a win. And that way I can learn from it and grow from it. So we may see a little double top here in Ethereum, or it may crank. This is the 30-minute chart, and we have ascending bottoms. Then we have kind of a top. We have a correction, and now looks like we're gonna have another top, and we'll see on the 1 minutes what it's doing. Yeah, on the 1 minutes, there's some good trading going on here, and it's rising. It's rising. It's rising. The perception of value, people. There is no value other than what we perceive to be valuable. And that's why in real estate, they want you to clear out your house. They want you to paint everything. They want you to have cookies baking in the background so that people perceive the house as valuable. In real estate, there's a saying, curb appeal. You want the house to look good from the curb, right? Otherwise, the buyer is like, it's a dump, right? The seller's like, oh, but it's a mansion. The buyer's like, it's a dump, right? The difference between the buyer's mindset and the seller's mindset are very, very different hypnosis, very different trances. Okay, so Dash is kind of doing what everything else is doing, and I like Dash a lot. I think it has a lot going for it. It seems to have, it has an actual development team, and it's not a nonprofit foundation, and so the people that are working on it actually get paid. I'm actually going to look into some places where I can buy some Dash and some Litecoin mining contracts today. I have some hash over at Genesis Mining in Bitcoin and Monero and Ethereum. So those, I kind of got those covered, but I want to get some Dash and I want to get some Litecoin mining contracts. And I think that's one way to go if you actually want more of a currency that you value, is to be part of a mining operation, a legitimate one, not a Ponzi scheme one. So be careful. And I will kind of look at some of those. Genesis Mining is obviously the most well respected. There's a couple of others, I think Hashflare and Hashing 24, if I got that right. And those are kind of on my target to begin to kind of systematically buy some hashing in those mining operations, because there's more than Bitcoin in town, people. There's more than one game in town, and I don't know. I just feel like Bitcoin is so overheated right now that I want to stay a little bit on the sidelines, because you can get really hurt. And that's why yesterday I talked about Bitcoin being a Ponzi scheme, not out of disrespect. Please understand that. It's out of the hypnotic thinking process that I can see in crowds. And I can see, and this is classic in every market, the people rush in, fools rush in where angels fear to tread, right? The uneducated non-professional rushes in and tries to chase a top because they're feeling like they're being left out. And that's the feeling of like, oh my God, I got to get involved in this. I got to learn more about this because there's so much I don't know. I'm going to be left out. So I got to learn more. That's a good application of it. But a lot of times people fling their money. They want something. They want the easy fix. They want the easy fix for weight loss without having to go on a diet or exercise. They want the easy fix for their relationships without having to actually man up and have a conversation about relationship, or woman up and do what needs to be done to connect with the feminine and the masculine and all that kind of stuff. Guys just want somebody to tell them how to pick up a chick in a bar in 5 minutes. Women want somebody to teach them or tell them how they can get a man to give them a ring in X amount of weeks, and women are a little more patient than men. Benjamin Franklin said in Poor Richard's Almanac, patience is a virtue, possess it if you can. It is seldom found in women and never in a man. We want it now, people. That is our hard wiring that's our default program from the Serengeti. Like, get it now. The wildebeest that, you were able to chase the lions off of, you got to get it now before the hyenas come. You got to get it now before it spoils in the sun, right? And I think that's an ancient part of our brain that gets activated when we see a harvest, when we see the low-hanging fruit, when we see abundance, when we see stuff that we want. Boom, we got to have it. So let's look at Dash on the 1 hours. This is a good time to get into Dash. It's hit a high, and it's retraced a bit, and it's doing a sideways range where the bottoms are all higher, right? And it's got a couple of tops, and they're a little higher, so it's going to move again. If you want to get yourself some Dash, if you're going shopping today, look at the 1 hour chart on Dash before you make your move, because the timing is important, and hopefully you can get your transaction in within 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes is like your window with Bitcoin if you're going from Bitcoin to Dash. But there are other ways to do it. You can go into a different currency and then exchange it for Dash on the Shapeshift exchange or in your Exodus wallet. Boom. Dash on the 1 minutes. Not really useful information. Let's see if I can make it smaller. Oops. Not a bad time to get it on the 1 minutes. I think the 30 is a little more helpful. 30-minute chart is really helpful in Dash today. And again, whenever somebody says, yeah, I got to get some Bitcoin, I'm like, do you look at charts? Do you do any timing? Because that's what I want to impress you guys. These things are moving fast, and it makes a difference whether you get in at 415 or 413 or 351. I mean, that's a serious amount of money between those 2 points. So try to buy it on sale, right? That's the idea. All right. And I really appreciate you guys watching this. And I took the day off yesterday after the morning cryptos, and I went and just goofed off with my girlfriend. It was wonderful to be out and about on a Tuesday, not in a cubicle, right? So that kind of freedom is ultimately what people are longing for, to be able to do what they want, when they want, how they want, with whom they want, in the way they want, without their boss or the government or somebody telling them what to do. And anyway, that's my yearning for freedom, and I think the cryptocurrencies are going to make that possible. We're getting closer every day, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. So this has been my small contribution, hopefully to a little bit of intelligence in a crazy time. Somebody very smart said, I think it was Earl Nightingale said, if you don't know what to do, watch the crowd and then go the opposite way. So think about that today. Watch the crowd and go the opposite way. And the emotions of Bitcoin right now are exactly the same as the emotions that I was experiencing when I was exploring the Ponzi schemes. You put your money in not knowing a lot and going on trust and seeing the social proof of all these other people running in, right? There is something to social proof, and there's also something to lemmings throwing themselves over a cliff, right? Although someone told me that really doesn't happen. That was just the Disney filmmakers trying to make a really good nature movie that people would watch. So I don't know if lemmings populations crash, but in nature, when populations explode, there's always another force that brings them into line, right? There's always forces that will capitalize on an abundance of lemmings. Maybe the foxes have really good litters that year. Maybe the coyotes come in. Maybe the snowy owl goes, wow, a lot of lemmings this year, and the snowy owl has 5 snowy owl chicks instead of 3. And it gets adjusted. It takes time. It's a process. But the exponential movements of the universe have governing forces that keep them from getting out of control. And I don't know if we have that here. In these markets, it's often called a crash. So, people, good luck. pay attention, and remember, the bottom line is know how to grow your own food in your own yard, just in case. And that's it for today. Someone please start the music so I can just stop flapping my gums. And I really appreciate you guys listening and paying attention, leaving those comments below. And I'm having a blast learning about this, and I hope you are too. And when in doubt, learn more. I'm going to start a series very soon, I promise, about some Bitcoin thought leaders that are worth paying attention to and worth listening to. And there will be some people who I might suggest that you not listen to as well. And so we'll see how that goes, see if I can pull some together today or tomorrow. And I will be putting that up. And I just really appreciate you guys. So, okay, the music. Forgot the music. Let's do the music. Get me out of here. Go. Thanks.